Hey guys, it's Jared here today, and I know one thing that I want to talk about today is shotgun shells. It's something that I've been asked about quite a bit and heard a lot of people talking about over my years trap shooting is what type of shotgun shells to use for different situations. And I think that's one thing that we need to keep in mind whenever we talk about shells is really you're not going to use the same one for singles as you would for handicaps. You're going to need more power a lot of times in handicaps, especially the further that you get back in yardage. You're going to need more power than your single shell. And in doubles, I think that different people use different things. I've seen, and I know I've done it myself several times, and I've actually tended to do this more, is use a single shell on my first shot doubles and a higher powered shell on my second shot. And not as higher power as my handicaps, but definitely higher than singles. So one thing that I'm going to recommend for you if you're a single shooter, maybe that's all you shoot is just 16-yard line. Make sure that you don't get into too much recoil, especially if you're just a young shooter starting out. One thing that I think a lot of people do, and I know that I especially did it starting out, is I got into too much recoil. Definitely didn't cause any injuries or anything, but it can, and it's not something that you really want to do. So I think that for singles, you need to stay within the 1145 to 1165 feet per second range. 1200 feet per second is it's really too much for the 16-yard line. It's a little bit of overkill. You're not going to break any more targets because of it, and all you're doing is just adding extra pounding to your body. So a couple of brands that I wanted to show you guys today for that is the Federal brand, which is actually one of my favorite shells to shoot for practice, and I probably would shoot them in competition too. They're really reliable. The only problem that I've ever had with them is sometimes the primers don't go off, but that's on the really cheap ones. This is the lower end ones, but it's a little bit different. You're gonna get these at like Dick's Academy, or Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm sorry, Academy Outdoors, Cabela's. I think Bass Pro Shops may sell them as well. I'm pretty sure Cabela sells them too, and they're really good. They're just Federal ammunition target load. You may know them by Top Gun. I've heard them called that several times in the past. I don't think that's what they're actually called now, or excuse me, they are right here on the box, Top Gun. And they're really good. This is actually a handicap load. It's 12 gauge, 2 3/4 dram, 1 1/8, 7 1/2. Now, if you're shooting handicaps, I'm probably going to recommend you actually get the 3 dram. That's what I tend to shoot and really like. But 2 3/4 is probably good until you get back to the 22 or 23 yard line. If you're, a short yardage guy, maybe just starting out, or at the short yardage, then I think that 1200 is going to be good enough for that. But these are for handicaps only. But they do make a singles load, which is 2 3/4, 1 1/8, 8 shot, and I believe that it's also 2 3/4 dram. They're great for that, 1145 feet per second. So you're not getting a whole lot of recoil, and they're absolutely phenomenal single shells. I mean, you can absolutely just really smoke a target out there and just have it hang out there for a long time. And that's what you're looking for, something that isn't going to pop you too much on a 16-yard line, but you can still hang the target and have really quality breaks with it. Another one that I've found over the years to be really good, and understand whenever I say lower end, I really mean lower end of the price range. These are still really good shotgun shells. They're not quite as good as premium, but they're really good, and it's Remington Gun Club. Remington's been around for a long time too. The Gun Club brand, I'm not for sure how long exactly it's been around, but it's been a while and it's proven itself. These are just 12 gauge, 2 3/4 length, 2 3/4 dram, 1 1/8 ounce shot, and 8 shot. And it's 1145 feet per second. I know that they do make a handicap load too. I believe it's 1200 feet per second. I've shot that before. It's really a good shell. The shot in the shell is not quite as good as a Remington STS. That's really what differentiates this. This is the premium Federal shell, but they don't make the handicap load in that, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But these gun clubs, these Federal Top Guns, two really good options. I know I got them both at Dick's Sporting Goods. for $4.98 a box. So that's really a pretty good price range. Not something that's you know, a higher end. You're looking at $7 probably a box, up to $10 a box for a premium shell. So you're at right around half of that. So and you're in it for a really good shell too. Something that's not going to hit you really hard whenever you're shooting, but very capable of breaking the target. Now, if you're looking for a higher end shell, last year for all of my competition targets, except maybe 1 or 200, I used the Remington STS and Remington Nitro for my handicaps. So the Remington STS, it's Premier STS Light Target. They are a great shell. They no longer make the 7.5 1200s though, like I was just saying. They've moved on. I haven't tried the new brand that's come out in place of these. I probably really won't, but if you can get your hands on some of these, they're a great shell for your second shot of doubles. That's what I use them for. I tend to be more of a heavier feet per second guy on my second shot of doubles, you know, something around 1,200 feet per second. Although I have shot singles 1,145, 1,150, 1,165 for my first and second shot, and have found that to also be a pretty consistent break, and you can break the target consistently with it as well. I just liked a little bit of extra smoke that it produces shooting at 1,200 feet per second. Plus, I also like the idea that it's probably going to be a little bit better on a windy day, a little bit more consistent. If you're shooting in 20, 30 mile an hour winds, you don't want your shot getting blown around at all. You want to have a consistent pattern. You want to know that target's going to get out there, or that shot's going to get out to the target. Plus, if you're on a windy day, sometimes that means that you're going to be shooting that target, that second target, for me anyway, it means that I may be shooting it a little bit further out there than normal, so I want to have something that's going to reach that far, so that's why I shoot 1,200 feet per second. First shot, though, you definitely want to keep a light load, 1,145 feet per second. I know some guys that use 1 ounce. That's, if that's your thing, then go for it. I'm not sure STS makes that, but you definitely can find them. I've never really been a big fan of 1 ounce, but I know several guys that are. They like the lower recoil, and it's a great shell. I don't think you're going to want to use it for your second shot of doubles or your handicaps. I just don't think there's enough shot in the shell to really consistently break the target. I think you need to definitely use 1 1/8. Now for my handicaps, I understand handicaps is kind of a different animal because you have the different yardages. You're not just shooting at the 16-yard line. So as I progressed back into long yardage, about the 24-yard line, I started using Remington Nitros. These are 1,235 feet per second, 7.5 shot. I believe. Let's look here. Yeah, they are 1 1/8 and 2 3/4 length. They're really a great shell. Really, to me, they're rivaled by Federal Premium only. Winchester AA is a great shell as well, but to me, I haven't liked their handicap shell as well over the years, which may have something to do with the fact that my gun maybe doesn't shoot them quite as well as others. But the Nitros are great. Nitros and Federal Premiums both are going to be tough to beat for anything, especially the Federal Premium papers. If nothing else, you just get to sit there and smell them. They smell really good, so that's always nice. I guess if you're having a bad round, you can at least say that you got to smell some good shells or something. I don't know, but really that's it about shells. A couple of last notes I'd like to say though. Different people are going to like different shells. There's no hard and fast rule outside of you want to get away with shooting as little recoil as you can. If you're somebody that likes to shoot 1,200 feet per second on the second target, then go for it. But don't shoot 1,200 feet per second for the first target, or shoot nitros for both targets, or don't shoot anything more than 1,165 feet per second for singles. It's just not necessary. Try to stay as low as you can on the recoil. And secondly, different guns are going to shoot different shells well. You really have to find out what works for your gun. I know guys, my Tragoff does not shoot Fiocchis as well as my Perazzi did back whenever I had one. Fiocchi's a great shell, but my Kragoff just doesn't shoot it as well. But I know somebody that does have it on the Kragoff, and they love the Fiocchis, and they shoot really well. So different guns are going to shoot different things well and at a high level. The important thing is recoil, get as little of as you can. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and I hope this really helps, guys. Thanks.